Greetings, Rogue Dragon here. I continue on with the Symbaroum Advanced Player Guide. We just did 3 parts on the Player's Guide. I'm hoping we can do this in 1 part, because we're just going to go over some new things, new abilities and things. You can see here we have the some new archetypes, races, and traits, boons and burdens, which I talked about, a few new skills, and weapons and armor and things. So we're not going to go over everything exactly, but let's start off. Let's look at archetypes. And it won't let me jump to the page. There we go. Archetypes. So this chapter describes a number of occupations which make full use of all the new abilities and powers. A new archetype, the hunter. They were previously featured as a subgroup among the rogues. The hunters and their toil are of great importance, both for the Ambrians and among the clans of the forest. To commoners in Ambria, they may not appear to be any different from your average rogue, but for many, especially among those living close to Davokar, they are on par with true heroes. Covered in the dirt of the wilds, eyes shining with the light of the future, the hunters are vital in the project of cultivating and taming the great forest. So, rangers are no longer under rogues, basically. Okay, some occupations listed, this is what I was talking about. Some occupations listed in the Advanced Player's Guide are professions, having tough requirement for membership. You cannot belong to such an occupation from the start. To be eligible for a profession, the character must have all the abilities mentioned under required abilities. One of them at the master level. Professions are meant to be used as a character's goal, something to strive towards and plan for. Also note that each profession gives access to a unique ability. Okay. Hunter professions. So hunters can become Ironsworn, meaning a full member of the Iron Pack dedicated to hunting abominations, and those who risk awakening the dark of Davokar. So if you want to become an Ironsworn profession, you must develop your character as a hunter archetype. Okay, from among the occupations in the core rulebook, witch hunter and ranger count as hunters and not as rogues. So those are hunter archetypes. And you may learn the archetypical ability hunter's instinct if they are so inclined. So, like I said, there are some class restricted abilities in this book. Okay, Ironsworn is a profession. You need to have an accurate of 13, a quick of 11, any race, but it says suggested race, so that doesn't mean that it will be a limitation anyway. And then you have required abilities, the unique ability that you can get, that's for the hunter class only, or for Ironsworn only, that's for Ironsworn only, the Agile Combat. And then suggested boons, suggested burdens. But the thing you have to do is have accurate 13, quick of 11, and then you have to have all these abilities: Beast Lord, Lore Master, Marksman, Pole-on Mastery, or Twin Attack. And be a hunter archetype. So here it says in parentheses profession. Hey, this is an archetype, the bounty hunter. Monster hunter, another new archetype. Let's see. The warrior. So the warrior has a new profession, the Templar. And the unique ability, the armored mystic. Okay, warrior abilities. The following abilities include those listed in both the core rulebook and the advanced player's guide, sorted according to our attributes when relevant. So the archetypical ability is feat of strength. So I guess you have to be a warrior archetype and in order to become a Templar. So you have to have strong 13, resolute 11. It says suggested race. All the suggested stuff is not required. Required ability. You have to have Iron Fist, Man at Arms, Mystical Power Witch Hammer, or Mystical Power Holy R, and Theurgy. So Templar sounds like it's kind of like a paladin. Tattooed Warrior, another archetype. Runesmith, archetype. Weapon Master. Crazy. Wrathguard. Then we have Mystics. So this is going to be a new kind of magical archetype. There's going to be the profession of artifact crafter. Staff mage. That's a profession. Symbolist, archetype. Troll singer. Okay, so these are the new races. No, I'm sorry. That's an archetype. And then Blood Waiter's a new profession. Spiritualist is a new profession. These are types of witches. Let's see. Love that. Green Weaver profession. Illusionist profession. Inquisitor. So this is a type of theurgy. Mentalist profession, all kind of new magic user profession, pyromancer profession. Required abilities: Lore Master, Mystical Power, Flame Wall or Brimstone Cascade, Wizardry, Ritualist with Tales of Ashes or Flaming Servant. Okay. A confessor profession, another theurgy, necromancer profession, sorcery. Let's see. Confessor. Leader or medicus, mystical power. Choose between holy aura, lay on hands, or true form. Ritualist, exorcism. So you think of a confessor as being maybe like an investigator or something, but he's like he's like an exorcist. That's pretty cool. And then necromancer has to have medicus, mystical power, revenant strike, ritualist, raise undead, school of sorcery. And it says gifts of specialization here. I guess it's going to be your special spells. But in some places it says gifts of the school, gifts of the road. It's the same thing, I'm sure. So now, for rogues, we have the profession Queen Spy. And unique ability is pyrotechnics. You have to have 13 cunning, discreet 11, feint, poisoner or strangler, sword, sate, 10 attack. The Queen's Spy, the Queen's Assassin. And you have to have pyrotechnic spell. Or maybe a use of pyrotechnic. That's very, very interesting. Former cultist, that's just an archetype. Guild thief, archetype. Gentleman thief, profession. So the new races. We have elves, abducted humans, dwarves, trolls, and undead. So you can play an undead. Very Dark Souls. The elves of Davokar are not a race per se. Instead, they are part of a holy guardian order. Initially, the order involved elves from the virgin regions to the west, where humans have not yet reached and where elven civilization is in bloom. This order, by humans known as the Iron Pact, is tasked with preventing the evil that slumbers beneath Davakar's roots and moss from awakening and spreading across the world. A majority of the elves in Davokar were born into the order. They have never been west and will never go there. To them, the elven lands of old are and remain a dream that will never come true. From when they are young, they are told that their duty lies in Davokar and that they are not welcome in the old lands. The Iron Pact even has a ceremony to initiate young elves into the order, where weeping elders led by Prince Iniano beg newly awakened summer elves for forgiveness for having forced them to be born, live, and die in the forest of the death shadow Davokar. The life of the Pact members is dangerous. Their numbers are dwindling, and the once so mighty Prince Iniano is entering his soul's winter. The increasing unpredictability of the prince has made it possible for other disagreeing leaders to position themselves for the upcoming power struggle. The dispute concerns the tactics of the battle against the dark, whether it should be fought with arrows and spears or by forging alliances. The spirited fairies who wake up after their first dormancy enter the phase of the summer elves, and it is they who constitute the backbone of Davakar's guardian force. Vigilant hunters armed with spears and bows, many of them die in battle with abominations or taboo breakers from the less and less cautious humans in the south. Those who survive eventually reach their second dormancy. A time of tearful grief for the elves. The members of Davikar's Iron Pack all live with the bitter truth that few elves will ever awaken from their second slumber. Most wither away before reaching the next life phase. So they go through like 4 life phases, like 4 seasons. Okay. What do elves, abductees, trolls, and dwarves know of Davikar? Being an elf does not mean that you know everything about Davikar or the intriguing factions and histories of the Iron Pact. The same goes for representatives of other races. You know that you have experienced. Aside from that, you must put your faith in tales, legends, and rumors, just like the average Ambrian. As a rule of thumb, one can say that an elf or a troll knows as much about its place of origin and its people as an Ambrian with the ability lore master knows about elves and trolls, sometimes less, since the learned Ambrian probably has access to sources of information which young elves and trolls are not aware of. Okay. So, player characters of elven origin should be summer elves in the second phase of the elven life cycle. It is possible to play older elves, but autumn elves fare better in a campaign where other characters are also very powerful, since these elvish beings tend to overshadow most humans in terms of skill, power, and insights regarding the deep mysteries of the world. In any case, elves are uncommon in human settlements and need very strong reasons to travel to such places. Okay. And this is reasons, like little uh, goals for the race, like mediator, scout, exile, avenger, and abducted human. Um, so we talked before about changelings and how the elves would leave a changeling in place of a human. Then they take that human and raise it as an elf. And the reasons for them being taken have been varied. Initially, it was to learn more about and better understand humans. Later, this motive changed from wanting to foster ambassadors who understood the elves and could live among the barbarians and teach them elven wisdom. You could have other reasons too that you could make up. Right. So dwarves. Now these are not Tolkien dwarves. Look at him. Okay. Rounded off, kind of pointy ears there. Let's see. The short and wiry people humans call dwarves have a history shrouded in mystery. Looking at the dwarves settled in Indaros, they display no interest in the history of their kind. They are a people on the move, aimed towards the future, fleeing a dark past that has given them a sense of community, but without peace or meaning. The dwarven perspective is rooted in the sanctity of the family, the secrets of the spoken word, and the conviction that the world is their common enemy. Okay. Galmaga of Katazar, a sage interested in dwarves, is said to have stated that the family is their shield, the language of their weapon, and the world their battlefield. And he gives examples of dwarves' adventures, what their motivation could be. Just suggestions. And then there's trolls. A great picture. Here's the height of the race's little chart. And undead. Something is not right with the world. The shadows grow darker as the corruption grows deeper, and natural laws are failing in this twilight of existence. One clear piece of evidence of this downfall is the increasing number of undead. Undead, as in thoroughly corrupted creatures thirsting for life, are nothing new. The Dark Lords confronted during the Great War awoke whole army of these gravely cold beings, and Davakar's ancient tombs harbor their fair shares of vengeful undead. However, a new kind of undead creature has recently appeared in Ambria. People who die, or should have died, rise again. The Black Cloaks, who secretly are investigating the worrying rumors, seem to think that Ambria's capital is at the heart of this horrific development. Reports sent to the monastery and the Titans include a slain cultist in Indaros who clawed himself from his grave and disappeared into the night, a man dead from old age who awakened as if having slumbered and was chased away after having gone to his workplace, and a woman of noble birth who died in childbirth, and later escaped the family crypt and kidnapped her living child. All these three were later tracked and found, one of them killed by a group of Templars, one captured by the Black Cloaks for study purposes, and the third caught by an angry mob, but lucky enough to escape being burned at the stake. All of them telling examples of what the undead will face if real for what they are. Common for all these new undead beings is that they show clear indications of actually being dead. They are cold, they do not bleed or eat or sleep. Yet their minds appear to be intact, and they are all very slowly decaying towards their final deaths, which might come centuries after their first deaths. Okay, so traits, and a lot of times they're racial, wisdom of the ages for elves. Just a couple of new traits there. Boons and burdens. The trait undead must be the first book, or maybe it's just listed under undead. All undead player characters start with the trait undead and can purchase higher levels as if it was an ability. The character is also allowed to acquire the monster's traits gravely cold and terrify as if they were abilities. But having them from the start is optional. Okay. They're described on page 196 in the core rulebook. That's why. It's under the monster section of the rulebook. Alright, boons and burdens. So a character player can have one or two, but you have to have a burden to match it. So you got things like Cat Burglar, which you can boost your lockpicking skill. You use quick or discreet for lockpicks. You get bonuses to it. Let's see. Dark blood. Dark blood flows through the character's veins, passed down from an ancestor or as a result of being cursed. Maybe the player character was simply born in the wrong part of Davakar at the wrong time. The dark blood always comes with some form of physical stigma represented by the burden bestial. So if you have the boon of dark blood, you have to take the burden bestial. The character may acquire and develop the following monstrous traits as though they were ordinary abilities: natural weapon, armored, robust, regeneration, wings. So anyone could get this. I think that would be something cool for the undead. Dexterous. This gives you a bonus to your discreet test when trying to steal items or hide items, so pickpocketing and concealing items on your person. Let's see. You get gambler, so you can cheat at gambling. Or actually, it gives you bonuses to your gambling and makes it easier for you to expose cheats. Hideout, so you can have safe houses. That's pretty cool. Pathfinder. Shadow Spawn. The character was born during a solar eclipse, and ever since then, shadows are drawn to him or her. The Shadow Spawn gets a +1 bonus on all discrete tests when sneaking or hiding. Okay, and you can get it multiple times. So, yeah, you can increase your stealth up to +3. And then burdens. In the Code of Honor, you have to act a certain way. Like if you're a Templar, you should take Code of Honor. Addiction. Arch Enemy. Dark Secret. So these things you really have to work with a DM on. So abilities. Alchemy. It's more expanded. So there you go, like Agile Combat, only available to Ironsworn. Armored Mystic, only available to Templars. So the Templars are developed techniques for performing the miracles of Prios while wearing full armor. When the Knights of the Dying Sun storm some settlement full of heretics of dark spawn, it is far from uncommon to see them blast their enemies and bless their allies while clothed in steel. So you can wear medium armor and throw your spells. And then you can wear heavy armor. And then for master, so now you get a +1.4 bonus to armor. Okay. Blood combat, only available to Wrathguard. That's one of those witch professions. And then here we have the abilities, and you can look them up in alphabetical order, and it'll say, which archetype it's under. But it really doesn't matter unless it's for a profession. If it says only, but if you have an ability that's suggested for the rogue, it doesn't mean like feint. Anyone can get it. But feat of strength is for warrior archetypes only. Okay. So, there's staff fighting now. Okay. Troll thing. So, the mystical tradition of trolls is expressed through singing, sometimes accompanied by music played on horn, flute, or pipes. According to the trolls' educational songs, The tradition stems from the caulking singing style that trolls used to communicate over long distances in the underworld. Okay, very interesting. So you can learn the troll songs, the spells, without getting corruption. Mystical traditions. So we have some new spells and things in here. I don't think I'm going to use the alternative rules. I want to take a look at the new weapons and armor. So let's see. Okay. So we want to go to page 98. That's page 87. Alternative rules. So you have things like alchemical weapons, alchemical fire tubes, grenades, mines, breaching pots. Okay. Feats. You have to use an experience point. Wow. The hero makes a normal attack and successful hit or hit deals maximum damage. Fearless, hero ignores horror effects. Stuff like that can come in handy in a pinch. Encumbrance. A character can carry a number of items mirroring his or her strong value without being negatively effective. If the character carries more, each extra item gives a -1 modification to defense, just like the impending effect of armor. The character can carry a maximum of strong ×2. After that, he or she cannot move more than short distances at a time. With the boom pack mule, the encumbrance limit is calculated as strong times 1.5 instead. Rounded down. Besides these basics, the following applies. Clothing, belts, and boots will not count as carried items. Containers such as backpacks, sacks, and shoulder bags don't count. Only the contents. Barrels, chests, boxes, and other bulky containers count as items in their own right, adding to what they contain. Weapons held in the character's hands do not count as carried items, but signal hostility. Weapons carried in the pack and their sheaths are similar or encumbering. Weapons with a quality massive count as 2 items. All right, a little simple encumbrance system there. Rules for traps. Disarming, bypassing, discovering. Okay, so this is a way to use boons like gambler or other professions. When you're in between adventures, you can roll to make money. Hmm. Let's see. All right, weapons and armor. Let's get the alchemical fire tubes. This is basically from the player's handbook here, and I'd like to see some armor. Okay, precision arrow, an arrow bolt of quality precise, which is especially well balanced, making it easier to hit the mark. Hmm. Flame arrows, snare arrows, different kinds of arrows. Assassin's blade, concealed thing like in the Assassin's Creed video game. You got a little concealed blade. So composite bow is 1.8 plus 1 because it's deep impact. You get the plus 1 damage. But longbow and horseman's longbow are precise. Now, do you have to do precision arrows with them? But it just says they hit better. It doesn't give an explanation for them. We have repeating crossbows, lance. So I'm assuming, I'll have to read it again, but I'm assuming you get a plus 1 to hit. You should. With the precision arrow. Concealed armor, light and flexible. Sorcerers have many reasons to stay hidden. To do this, they often weave mystically reinforced threads into their cloth, resulting in tunics and capes that look ordinary but offer protection. Other groups, such as spies, would love to have access to such garments so they can avoid unwanted attention while still being ready for battle. Yeah, I'd like to get some of that from my rogue archetype. Double chainmail. They need more types of armor. Shield armor, laminated armor. So this is that's good. I'm glad they got more armors. Heavy armor. You got field armor, full plate. Yes, this is better than the player's book. Cause I was wondering, I was like, God, there's only one type of heavy armor. This is good. All right. That's just a little brief going over of the advanced player's book. And when we come back, we'll give our character information and NPC information and all that. And we'll start a little adventure. See you next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.